Okay, let's have our lesson 6 and we will talk about the square root. But first, let us recall that a rational number is expressed as a fraction or decimal. Every terminating or non-terminating repeating decimal represents a rational number. So when we said square root of a number, it is a number when multiplied to itself will give you the original number. For example, the square root of 9 or positive 3 and negative 3 because when the positive 3 and the negative 3 are multiplied to themselves, they are equal to 9. So halimbawa, let us multiply positive 3 times positive 3, the answer is positive 9 or 9. Negative 3 times negative 3, the answer is also 9 because negative times negative is positive. If the square root of a number is non-terminating, non-repeating, kapag sinabing non-terminating, walang katapusan. Hindi siya nata-terminate or hindi natatapos. Kapag naman sinabing non-repeating, ibig sabihin hindi nauulit. Halimbawa, 1.25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yun. Kapag naman repeating kasi, ibig sabihin ng repeating nauulit. Halimbawa, 1.22222. So, iyon yung repeating. So, when we have a kind of decimal which is non-terminating or hindi natatapos at hindi nauulit, that is called as irrational number. Every positive number has two square roots. One is positive and the other is negative. The principal square root is the positive square root of the given number or radicand. Kapag sinabing radicand, iyon yung number na nasa loob ng square root symbol. The principal root is rational if the radicand is a perfect square. If not, then the principal square root is irrational. So 0 has only one square root which is 0 because 0 times 0 is equal to 0. So in addition, negative numbers do not have real square roots. Their square roots are called imaginary numbers which are tackled in higher branch of mathematics. So square roots are the numbers that, when multiplied by themselves, equal to the number under the square root sign, which is called as the radicand. If the principal square root is irrational, the best you can do is to give an estimate of its value. Okay, I have here list of perfect squares. So, isinulat ko hanggang square root of 900 which is equal to 30. So, it is read as square root of 1 is equal to positive or negative 1. Kapag magsusulat tayo ng sagot ng square root or isusulat natin yung sagot sa radicand, kailangan palaging merong positive and negative sign bago ang sagot. Bakit? Dahil ito, nire-represent nito na ang sagot ay pwedeng positive at pwede ring negative. So, katulad dito sa square root of 4. So, paano ba natin makukuha ang 2 o ang 4? So, positive 2 times positive 2 is equal to 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is also equal to 4. So, when we said square root of 4, dapat ang sagot is positive or negative 2. Ganon din sa mga sumunod pang numbers. Okay, so let's have our example number 1. Find the principal root of square root of 49. So, paano ba natin malalaman ano yung sagot sa square root of 49? So, balikan natin yung example natin kanina or yung list natin kanina which is this one. So, tingnan natin saan ba pumatak ang square root of 49. So, kung mapapansin nyo, ang square root of 49 ay may sagot na positive or negative 7. So, for the solution, square root of 49 is equal to positive or negative 7. Pero paano kung hindi natin ipakita sa pagsasagot ang mga nasa listahan na square root? So, ang gagawin nyo lang, imumultiply nyo lang ang isang number sa sarili niya and then hanggang sa makuha nyo ano yung sagot doon sa given question. Halimbawa, square root of 81. So, magmumultiply kayo kung gusto nyo simula sa 5 o kaya simula sa 1. So, 5 times 5, 6 times 6, 7 times 7, hanggang sa makarating kayo sa 9 times 9, which is equal sa 81. So, dito, our answer for the square root of 49 is positive or negative 7. This means that the square root of 49 is either positive 7 or negative 7. Because 7 times 7 is 49 and negative 7 times negative 7 is also positive 49. Thus, square root of 49 has a principal square root of 7 and it is rational. Bakit naging rational? Dahil ang nakuha nating sagot na 7 ay whole number at hindi siya non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. So let's have example number 2. Determine whether the principal root of square root of 17 is rational or irrational. So paano ba natin malalaman kung ang square root of 17 ay rational o irrational? So katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, pwede niyong isa-isahing i-multiply ang isang number sa sarili niya hanggang sa malaman natin sakto ba yung square root of 17 or hindi siya kabilang sa rational. So let us multiply. 1 times 1 is square root of 1. 2 times 2, square root of 4. 3 is square root of 9. Square root of 16. And square root of 25. Question. May nakita ba kayong square root of 17? Wala. So, the solution for the square root of 17 is equal to positive or negative square root of 17. Dahil walang whole number na kayang i-multiply sa sarili niya at ang kalalabasan ay 17, so ang sagot ay iyon pa rin. Ang lalagyan lang natin or dadagdagan lang natin ng positive or negative symbol katulad nito. And then kokopyahin natin yung given. The radicand 17 is not a perfect square. If the radicand is not a perfect square, then the principal square root is irrational. Again, kapag sakto yung sagot, that is called as rational. Kapag naman hindi sakto ang sagot, iyon yung tinatawag nating irrational numbers. When a number is irrational, estimating square roots is a valuable tool. We can approximate the square root of a number by looking for two consecutive integers between which the square root lies. So kapag hindi sakto yung sagot, titingnan natin ano yung dalawang magkasunod na number na pumapagitna doon sa given square root. Irrational numbers never terminate nor repeat. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabing irrational numbers, hindi siya natatapos at hindi rin nauulit yung numbers. So the decimal form of an irrational number is always an estimate of its value. So let's have example number 3 for irrational numbers or yung hindi sakto ang sagot. Between which two consecutive integers does square root of 6 lie? So saan daw o ano yung dalawang magkasunod na number ang pumapagitna sa square root of 6? So para malaman natin yon, gagawa tayo ng table na may dalawang column. Yung unang column, doon natin ilalagay yung numbers na halimbawa 1 to 5, 1 to 6, and so on. Sa kanang side naman or yung pangalawang column, doon natin ilalagay yung square root na equivalent ng given number. Para malaman natin ano yung pumagitna dun sa given natin na square root of 6. So isulat natin 1 to 5 and then let us now write the square roots of each number. Square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, and square root of 25. Ano sa tingin nyo yung dalawang numbers na pumagitna sa square root of 6? O saang gitna nakalagay ang square root of 6? Tama, iyon ay nasa gitna ng square root of 4 at ng square root of 9. So, we will write it as this one. Square root of 4 less than square root of 6 is less than 2 square root of 9. Or pwede siyang tawagin or basahin as square root of 6 is less than square root of 9 but greater than 2 square root of 4. Bakit naging greater than ang basa dito? Dahil pabaliktad tayong nagbasa ng given. Again, uulitin ko kung paano siya basahin. Square root of 6 is less than square root of 9, but greater than 2 square root of 4. Ibig sabihin, ang value ng square root of 6 ay mas mababa sa value ng square root of 9, pero mas mataas siya sa value ng square root of 4 dahil nasa gitna nga siya ng 4 at ng 9. So, i-convert natin. So, square root of 4 is equal to 2, and then kopyahin lang natin yung square root of 6, and then square root of 9 is 3, katulad ng nandito. Solution. 6 lies between the consecutive perfect squares 4 and 9. Therefore, square root of 6 lies between 2 and 3. So kapag may question na ganito, the answer must be this one. Square root of 6 lies between 2 and 3. Palagi pong dalawa yung number dahil yung dalawang number na yun na magkasunod, iyon yung pumapagitna o iyon yung nasa dalawang gilid ng given natin irrational number. Let's have example number 4. Square root of 75 lies between what integers? Again, maglalagay tayo ng dalawang column. Sulatan natin ng 1 to 5 and then kunin natin yung principal square roots or roots. Square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25. Question, may nakita na ba kayong square root of 75? Wala. So itutuloy natin ang column. 6 to 10. Square root of 36, square root of 49, square root of 64, square root of 81, and square root of 100. Saan sa tingin nyo nakalagay o pumagitna ang square root of 75? Tama. Ang square root of 75 ay nasa gitna ng square root of 64 at square root of 81. So, isusulat natin ang paganito. Square root of 64 less than square root of 75 less than square root of 81. But the proper way on reading this is square root of 75 is less than to square root of 81 but greater than to square root of 64. Ibig sabihin, ang value ng square root of 75 ay mas mababa sa value ng square root of 81 pero mas mataas sa value ng square root of 64. So the square root of 64 is 8, and then the square root of 75 is not exact, so i-bring down lang natin yung square root of 75, and then the square root of 81 is 9. So for the solution, 75 lies between the consecutive perfect squares 64 and 81. So the final answer, square root of 75 lies between 8 and 9. Thus, the square root of 75 is a decimal number greater than 8 but less than 9. Okay, another example, number 5. Estimate the square root of 10 to the nearest 100. Kung kanina, in-estimate lang natin kung saan nakapagitan yung isang square root. So dito, alamin natin ano yung pinakamalapit na value ng square root of 10 sa hundreds. So maglalagay tayo ng table, lalagyan natin ng 1 to 5, and then sulat natin yung principal square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, and square root of 25. So saan nakapagitan o saan nakapagitna yung square root of 10? Okay, iyon ay nasa gitna ng square root of 9 at square root of 16. So for the solution, the principal root of square root of 10 is between 3 and 4 because the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 16 is 4. By estimation, since ang question is i-estimate daw natin ang square root of 10 sa nearest hundreds, so hindi lang siya ganito, so kailangan nating isulat yung hundreds. Kapag sinabing hundreds, ganito yon. Meron yung dalawang decimal number sa right side ng decimal point, hundreds. Kasi kapag isa lang, that is called as tenths. Okay. So by estimation, 3.1 squared, kapag sinabing 3.1 squared, that is 3.1 times 3.1, the answer is 61, sorry. And 3.2 squared, or 3.2 times 3.2 is equal to 10.24. The square root of 10 must lie between 3.1 and 3.2. So here's the solution. Let us continue the estimation to the hundredth place. 3.15 squared, or yung 3.1 kanina, pwede natin siya lagyan ng 3.11 kasi yung 3.1 iyon ay 3.10. So 3.11, 3.12 hanggang 3.15 squared. Yung squared, ibig sabihin yan, dalawang beses nating imumultiply itong number na ito sa sarili niya. So 3.15 times 3.15 is equal to 9.9225. 3.16 squared is equal to 9.9856. 3.17 squared is equal to 10.0489. Therefore, 10 is closer to 9.9856. So, yung square root of 10 ay malapit siya sa 9.9856 kasi lumampas na to sa 10. So, when we said or when we estimate square root of 10 to the nearest hundreds, therefore, by estimation, square root of 10 is equal to 3.16. Ito yung 3.16. Kasi ang value ng 3.16, kapag minultiply sa sarili niya ay 9.9856. So, ito yung estimation ng square root of 10 sa nearest hundreds. Let's have example number 6. Estimate the square root of 45 to the nearest hundreds. Okay, let us write 1 to 7, square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, and square root of 49. So, ang square root of 45 ay nasa gitna ng 36 at 49. So, for the solution, the principal root of square root of 45 is between 6 and 7. It is closer to 7. O ang 45 daw ay malapit sa 7 times 7, which is yung 49. So let us estimate square root of 45 into hundreds. So by estimation, 6.7 squared is equal to 44.89 and 6.8 squared is equal to 46.24. So since ang 6.8 squared ay equal sa 46.24, lumampas na siya sa 45. So doon tayo magpo-focus naman sa 6.7 squared dahil hanggang 44 lang ito. So alamin natin sa ano ba yung nearest hundreds ng square root of 45. The square root of 45 must lie between 6.7 and 6.8. So for our solution, continue the estimation to the hundredth place. 6.71 squared is equal to 45.0241. 6.72 squared is equal to 45.1584. 45 is closer to 45.0241. So, since ang square root of 45 ay mas malapit sa 45.0241 kaysa doon sa value ng 6.72 squared, so therefore, by estimation, square root of 45 is equal to 6.71 kapag ang square root of 45 ay kinonvert natin sa nearest hundreds. Okay, irrational numbers are found on a number line by approximation. We can plot an irrational number on a number line using its estimated value. Ano nga ba yung estimated value? Since hindi natin alam yung eksaktong value ng irrational number, i-estimate lang natin or huhulaan natin ano yung ano sa tingin nyo yung number na malapit dun sa given irrational number? So, number line, ito yung line na may number, syempre. So, okay, so let's have example number 7. Plot the following irrational numbers on the number line: square root of 3, square root of 23, and square root of 48. So, paano ba natin ipa-plot o paano natin malalaman ang posisyon ng bawat irrational number sa number line? So, ang gagawin natin, i-convert natin yung given irrational numbers. So, 1 to 7, square root of 1, 4, 9, 16. Inuulit lang natin yung process para alam natin yung pagkakasunod-sunod. Square root of 25, 36, and 49. Okay, so for the solution, using the estimates, square root of 3 is closer to 2. Tama naman. Ang square root of 3 ay malapit sa 2. Square root of 23 is closer to 5. Bakit? Dahil ang 5 times 5 is 25. So, malapit ang 23 sa 25. Next, square root of 48 is closer to 7. Dahil ang 48 ay malapit sa 49. By approximation, the given irrational numbers are plotted on the number line. So let us plot the given numbers or irrational numbers on the number line. So let us estimate square root of 3 is equal to 1.73, square root of 23 is equal to 4.80, and square root of 48 is equal to 6.93. Saan ko nakuha yung mga value na to? In-apply ko yung ginawa natin kanina na estimating the given irrational number into nearest hundreds. So halimbawa, since ang 3 ay malapit sa 2, or bago mag square root of 4, so pwede natin gamitin 1.5 squared, 1.6 squared, pero ang square root of 3 ay malapit sa square root of sa 1.7 squared or 1.73. So here's the number line. So ngayon, since kapag tayo ay magpa-plot ng irrational numbers, kailangan natin i-convert ang given irrational numbers sa magkakatulad na format. So ito, ginawa nating decimal number. 1.73, 4.80, and 6.93. So, since pare-pareho na silang decimal number, pwede na natin silang i-plot sa points ng number line. So, ang 1.73 ay lampas ng 1 pero hindi lalampas ng 2. So, pwede nating ilagay, i-estimate natin ng square root of 3 o ang 1.73 ay nandito. Tapos, lalagyan natin ng label, square root of 3. Next, square root of 23, 4.80. So, 4.80. So, lampas siya ng 4 pero hindi siya lalampas ng 5. So, pwede nating ilagay ang 4.80 or square root of 23 dito. And then, labeled as square root of 23. Okay, last, square root of 48 is equal to 6.93. Lampas siya ng 6, pero hindi siya lampas ng 7. So, pwede nating ilagay ang square root of 48 dito. And then, write the label. Ayan, na-plot na natin yung given irrational numbers. Tandaan nyo, kapag magpa-plot kayo ng irrational numbers sa number line, kailangan i-convert nyo muna yung mga irrational numbers sa decimal numbers para tulad-tulad sila ng format. Okay, let's have another example. Plot the following points on a number line. So we have given examples or different points. Point A is equal to square root of 7. Point B is equal to square root of 38. Point C is equal to square root of 43. Point D is equal to square root of 49. And point E is equal to square root of 105. So i-plot natin yung points sa given number line. Pero bago yon, paano natin mas madaling mai-plot ang mga given irrational numbers? So, ang irrational numbers ay i-convert natin sa decimal number. Kung nahihirapan kayo ng mano-mano na pag-multiply o pag-estimate ng irrational numbers sa decimal number, pwede kayong gumamit ng calculator. And then sa calculator, ang kukunin nyo lang ay yung 2 decimal places. So, eto na yung conversions ng irrational numbers sa decimal number. So, kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayo ditong square root of 7 is equal to 2.65. So, hindi ko sinulat lahat ng value na nakita ko sa calculator. Sinulat ko lang yung nasa nearest hundreds. So, ito yon. Ito yung hundreds. 2 decimal places galing sa decimal point. Square root of 38 is equal to 6.16 and so on hanggang sa square root of 105. So ngayon, i-plot na natin yung points ng given decimal number sa number line. Okay, first, square root of 7, the answer is 2.65. So 2.65, so lampas siya sa 2, pero hindi siya lalampas ng 3. And then, since ang decimal number niya o ang nearest hundreds niya ay 65, ibig sabihin lampas siya ng 50. So, dapat lalampas siya sa gitna ng 2 at 3 kasi yung gitna mismo ng 2 at 3, iyon yung 50. So, saan natin ilalagay yung point? I-estimate natin na dito nakalagay yung point. So, that is 2.65. And then, labelan natin as A. Next, square root of 38, 6.16. So, lampas siya ng 6 pero hindi siya lampas ng 7. Pero dahil hindi umabot sa 50, yung 16, ibig sabihin hindi dapat lalampas sa gitna ng 6 at 7 yung point. Katulad nito. And then, labelan natin as B. Next, square root of 43 is equal to 6.56. So, 6.56. Gitna pa rin ng 6 at 7. So, since 56, ibig sabihin lampas siya ng kaunti sa gitna ng 6 at 7. So, dito natin ilagay yung points that is labeled as letter C. Next, square root of 92, 9.59. So, gitna ng 9 at 10. Dahil lumampas siya sa 9 pero hindi siya lalampas ng 10. Pero dahil ang nearest 100 niya ay 59, so, ibig sabihin, medyo malapit siya sa 50. So, dito natin ilagay yung point. And then, labelan natin as point D. And then the last, square root of 105, kung mapapansin nyo lang pa siya ng 10. Tama? So, wala na tayong 11. So, 23, ibig sabihin hindi siya lalampas sa kalahati ng 10. So, ilagay natin yung point dito. And then, labelan natin as point E. So, again, kapag magpa-plot kayo ng irrational numbers sa number line, i-convert nyo muna sa nearest hundreds ang mga given irrational numbers and then i-estimate nyo or tansyahin nyo saan dapat ipoposisyon yung given points. So let us now summarize what we have learned in this lesson. A square root of a number is a number when multiplied to itself will give you the original number. So kapag sinabing square root, halimbawa square root of 4, ang sagot sa square root of 4 is 2 because 2 times 2, 4. Ganon din sa ibang numbers. The principal root is rational if the radicand is a perfect square. If not, then the principal square root is irrational. Again, kapag hindi sakto ang sagot, ibig sabihin, iyon ay nabibilang sa irrational numbers. When a number is irrational, estimating square roots is a valuable tool. So kapag hindi sakto o hindi siya perfect square, at iyon ay nabibilang sa irrational number, kailangan nating i-estimate or saan nakapagitan ang o ano yung dalawang numbers na pumapagitna sa irrational number. When plotting irrational numbers on a number line, be sure that the numbers are on the same format. It's either in decimals or in fractions, katulad ng tinuro ko kanina. Okay, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa ating lesson ngayon. Thank you for watching. If you have questions or suggestions, feel free to comment below. Enjoy learning mathematics. God bless us all.